Fantastic news, everyone. You no longer need to pretend to be charmed by Nick Marsh's mom. You're listening to Can't Read, Can't Write. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Can't Read, Can't Write, the podcast that proves Spartans can talk. I'm Mike Jones, joined as always by the guy who will never do it live, Kevin Greck, and not by the guy still recovering from last week, Alex Plum. Kevin, you'll do
He's
it live.
probably still recovering from that scathing question from Bamopoulos last week while you guys were doing it live. Brutal. She went for you guys. She went hard for the watch count. And she was right. She was right to do that.
But you know what? Not bad for the first one.
What was the idea there? Walk me through it. Why did we do this to the vast majority of our listenership that listens after we record on podcasts?
Well, there's a first for everything.
Yeah.
And
trial run. Okay, great.
You weren't around.
Mm-hmm. That's true. But
do
not
we really
entirely true at the same time, because I would have been available just about a half hour after you guys started going live. But continue.
Oh, well, you could have informed us of that at any point in time via text message.
You were fixated on this whole YouTube thing that you've got going on, but continue.
Also, do we want to have a human resources performance review conversation about somebody who's not in the room?
What? No, who? What? No, I don't know what you're referring to.
Plum, was watching the game and providing commentary on the game.
Yeah. Yes.
In real time.
Yep.
And so, it was a lot of fun.
Heard.
We had folks in the chat. It was a good time.
I saw that too. I saw that you guys were done with Twitter questions, stopped accepting Twitter questions, and then went back to continue the Twitter questions. That was really good. But my favorite moment was when you asked Plum if he had looked at the box score for the free throws at that time, and he did not have it in front of him, so he had to go and get it. And there was about 60 seconds of dead air before we learned that the team was shooting 17 for 24, which is mediocre as can be, maybe even mediocre fine. But like the amount of time and energy that went into him figuring out 17 for 24 was, I guess, not disqualifying for you, podcast host, but seemed like it to me.
Your primary complaint isn't about having done it live, but was rather about doing a live viewing of a game. That's actually your complaint.
Well, I think my complaints are multiple, and they'll continue to come up over the course of this episode because...
And others, apparently.
Yeah, I'm not going to let this go. It was such a poor idea and so poorly executed by you two dweebs that...
I'm sorry, Kevin.
I heard YouTube's going to shut down live streams entirely because of your performance last week.
I invite you, sir, to go back into the archives and find the files of when we did practice episodes.
Okay. Listen, here's the thing. Those were just getting in front of a microphone practice, one. And two, I invite you to go listen to them because we haven't improved all that much. Thank you.
Well, we will do it again at some point in time, and it will be more scripted the next time around for Kevin's pleasure, apparently. How was Canada, buddy?
Lovely. Absolutely lovely. The Great White North.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we want to thank everyone for listening. And if we could ask a small favor, please share the pod with Spartans in your life. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. And of course, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_pod or Blue Sky at SpartanPod. Kevin, what are we doing this week? It is a week chock-a-block full of things.
Yeah. We'll start with football, behind the green wall. And football, as we know, always leads. And we're just going to do an in memorandum of the entire MSU football team because they're all in memoriam. Sure. We'll cut it. We can do that now because we're doing a post facto launch of this show. So I can say whatever I want. I can make whatever mistakes I want. Cannot read or write. Doesn't matter. So we'll just read off everyone's names over taps. And then I guess we have some commitments now as well, which we can start by explaining to me why we should care about this. Then we'll talk about we'll put a little bow on football with some staff changes. We'll talk about a basketball game where we were court rushed upon, which I don't remember the last time that happened. Do you remember? Can you think of it?
I can't. I got to be honest.
Court stormed? I couldn't tell you the last time. I know it's happened, but I couldn't tell you the last time.
It's flattering.
We'll talk about hockey, of course. We'll talk about Mama's Mercantile. We'll talk a lot about moms, I think, this episode. Do we have anything off Grand River? I don't think so. There's lots to discuss off Grand River, but I don't.
Yeah.
So we'll take your social media questions. That's what we'll do.
Okay. And then let's start first. We have one coach who's been added to the staff that we've not yet discussed, Devin Spalding, who's going to be the running backs coach.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So,
do we know any of their contracts yet?
We don't.
Yeah. That was my favorite thing for the last go around, was learning all the contracts and all the raises that everyone's getting. Yeah. I look forward to that, especially Nick Sheridan. That's another thing worth discussing during this time. Did you see the news across the Big Ten in offensive coordinators?
No.
Chip Kelly.
Oh, yes.
National championship winning offensive coordinator Chip Kelly is going to Northwestern. How does that make you feel about chronic failure Nick Sheridan?
The Chip Kelly thing would have been interesting. I could have seen it going very poorly too, though.
Explain. Elaborate.
I mean, he hasn't been successful everywhere he's gone.
He won a natty as a national championship, or as a offensive coordinator at Ohio State.
Right. At Ohio State.
Sure. But
your question is like, or I think the thrust of what I'm saying is not all coordinators are necessarily an edge in and of themselves.
Okay. Tell me more about your edging.
People got to subscribe to the Patreon for that.
Launch. I would subscribe.
Gonna go full Plexco on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you though on contracts. Do we want to talk about who's coming or who's going?
I'll leave that to you. And the Patreon. Or the OnlyFans?
Let's start.
What are we doing now?
What do you mean?
Never mind.
All right.
I haven't been here for 2 weeks. We got to knock the rust off this thing. Yeah. You know, they're not all going to be home runs. I'm still reeling from you guys doing it live last week. So
I'm just sensing a certain amount of envy in you. Let's talk about transfers out. It's like the whole team.
Yeah. Do you have any favorites?
Favorites. My favorite would probably be Alex Van Sumeren. Because he posted that video that made it seem like he was coming back and then entered the portal the very next day.
Yeah, pretty good. Okay.
Pour one out.
Here's one. Who is this? Nick Marsh is apparently going to Indiana. Anything you want to say about that?
My brain still isn't computing. You see a commitment to Indiana, and my mental model is still them. But and then you register into reality, right? But
yeah,
let's start with I think the most important thing, which is forks down today, forks down tomorrow, and forks down forever.
Yeah, I could handle any other Big Ten team. I could handle Notre Dame. I could handle Michigan. But to go to that team is unforgivable. The old brass spittoon rivalry. You walked across that line.
Mm-hmm.
Unforgivable.
I hope we put a little extra spit in the spittoon the next time we win it.
I understand that Nick Marsh had a moment last year that was sort of like, the program's not doing very well. but I want to stick around. I'm committed to that. And that was something that we needed at the time. And it's my understanding that he got paid handsomely for making
Mhm.
that decision at the time. So let's keep that in mind. He did get paid handsomely, and we did give him his flowers then for making that decision. Now he's spit in all of our face spittoons and has walked over to the enemy. And when that happens, all bets are off, Nick. And so
Mhm.
when you do weird stuff like include your mom in your commitment image, which I have never seen done before, call it an edit. They all call it edits. Your mom and your commitment edit, son.
Yeah.
Now I understand why someone was having a hard time creating a separation from defensive backs over the course of the year
Mm. Can't get off
because
the tit.
his T count's a little low, it would seem. Because he was distracted by mommy up in the stands. It's weird. It's weird stuff.
Yeah. There's some Oedipus vibes there.
Strong.
Do you think he was just breastfed till like a very abnormally late age?
Maybe that's how he's so tall, so much calcium until he was like 13 or 14, at least. It was when he went JV and he had to go away games on the bus. They had to
Yeah.
like work something out at that point. That was when he was finally weaned. Just annoying.
Yeah. And what's the phone doing in the. She's on the phone.
It's because we see her all the time on her phone, but that's over. We don't have to do that anymore.
But it's a
This
cord
this is
one.
now
Like,
your cross to bear, Hoosier fans.
do you think that's like a symbolism for the umbilical cord?
Oh, done you. Go
There's
back and look at
levels.
the edit. See if it goes from her. Is the placenta also in that shot still?
No, she fed it to him.
Cool. I can't think of anything cooler in your commitment edit than having your mom in it. What a cool thing for a cool couple of folks.
Yeah. You've got me wondering now what the actual video or edit is. Yeah, it's weird. All right. So that one, that's rough. Martin Connington, our kicker, is also in the portal. You do need a kicker.
Yeah. Kicking is part of the game. We lost on special teams a couple times this year. So yeah.
Gonna need to get that one sorted. And then also duped by Aiden West, who I believe Plum and I discussed specifically that he was returning, only for him to, I believe, the next day enter his name into the portal. So it's been very cool, very chill.
Do you think it's possible with any of these guys that they thought they were staying and then were informed that they're not staying?
Yeah, so I think that's the issue, right? Is in fairness to Alex Van Sumeren, this can't be real. This is the problem with. I'm sorry. There's a very weird picture
With going
involving
live?
involving Nick Marsh and his mom that it can't be real. Anyway,
Someone else has picked up on this whole Oedipus bit that we're on.
he's on a knee serving up an IU football to her, and it's odd. Anyway,
I don't know. That sounds not odd enough to be fake.
but also I don't know. Anyway, I do wonder if the staff is making an assessment like Alex Van Sumeren, you're a good football player. We'd like to have you, but you were paid like one of the best football players on this team, which you were, but by way of production numbers, you're not worth being paid that well.
Right.
And so can I go moneyball this situation with somebody else and probably get similar levels of production?
For less money. Sure.
Yeah, I have to wonder if there's something like that happening here. So
Can I, before we go into the guys that were being added to the team,
mhm.
can I just ask?
Yeah.
Why do we care? Why do we care? Who cares? Who could ever possibly care? Jonesy, you and I do have an MSU football podcast. but we're in a unique position where we're not beholden to any stakeholders. You and I can decide we don't want to talk about this kind of stuff. We don't have Mr. LSJ or Mr. Locked On looking over our shoulder, looking for clicks. We can have respect for ourselves and choose to ignore all this stuff and talk about something else. We go back to Nick Marsh mom jokes. Isn't that
We could.
time better spent?
I want to first celebrate you for being locked in for the new year. Using stakeholders so early in the conversation tells me you're ready to get back to the corporate grind.
Shareholders, probably, is what I should have said.
I do think there's, 40 new names that are going to be added to this roster? I don't know that they all deserve love. In fact, I think we've got varying degrees of love for some of these additions here. But the fact of the matter is our stakeholders are our listeners, Kevin. And maybe, it's part of our job to say, hey, here's who's going to be on your team next year.
And maybe, just maybe, our listeners should have some respect for themselves and choose not to engage in this garbage. Because, as we've just established, listing off names, who cares? Like, half of these guys are going to be gone again next year. Why get to know them?
But they are playing this year, Kevin, and that's the difference.
But how many of them are going to play too? Like, oh my God.
That's fair. Well, we're going to do it anyway, buddy.
Great. All right. I've got myself a nice little beer here. I'm going to lean back. Go ahead. Knock me out. Tell me about the team.
So we have 8 commitments from the portal today, but we only know about 4 at the time of recording.
Before we go in, can we talk about, speaking of edits, the edit that we're using right now for announcing? So for those that have lives and respect for themselves, the staff, and now in this case, Pat Fitzgerald, will announce on Twitter when there's a commitment with this little edit. So everyone goes like, gosh, who is it? And it used to be like a Spartan with a flame during the Jonathan Smith era. You can't do that.
Mel Tucker had different
anymore.
ones.
Yeah, Mel Tucker had a few different ones. There was like actually a bat signal one, wasn't there?
Yeah, he did one. He did a new one each year.
Yeah. Well, this year's one is just like a Spartan helm, kind of like it's the hologram thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful. It's by far the worst of all of them. And it's not making me psyched for these guys anymore.
No. It seems that in addition to the entire team leaving, the graphics department might have as well.
The graphics department also got axed in all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, Pat, you're going to want to get on that. Because it looks very done with AI.
It looks slop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Claude didn't produce this.
Claude couldn't produce that.
Claude would never. This looks like Grok's work over here.
Honestly? Yeah.
Pretty good for Grok.
So, all right. Ben Morawski is up first. He's an offensive lineman from UConn. I'm guessing is going to be the starting left tackle unless we get someone else of similar size to come. And when I say size,
he's a big boy.
Yeah, he's 6'7", 335, and has 1 year of eligibility remaining. Pro Football Focus ranked him the number 3 run blocker in the entire country last year.
Say it with me now, boys and girls. Pro Football Focus sucks.
Unless you want to use it for your own good.
That's right. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. Let's go.
And only let up 4 sacks. So not too bad. Next up, we have Chapel
Tyron,
who is coming to us from Houston Christian, third highest graded cornerback in his conference with 4 interceptions and 7 pass breakups. 6'3", 170, which the 6'3" definitely plays, and had visits scheduled to Arkansas and Mississippi State as well. Has 3 years of eligibility remaining.
And the Houston Christian Conference is the Great West.
I think that must be an FCS, yeah?
Great. Continue.
I included the other.
Southland Conference. Excuse me. They moved from the Great West to the Southland Conference. So third best corner from the Southland Conference. Continue.
Again, had other teams with interest. I put the peer list on there for you, buddy.
Thank you.
Devin Vaught, I think. I'm not doing great with names. Safety out of Maine, which is definitely an FCS school. 6 foot, 205, with theoretically 2 years of eligibility remaining. Had 60 tackles and a team leading 3 interceptions last year. And then I think probably the most exciting pickup, Reese Dawkin of punter from Iowa. Punting is winning in Iowa. As a freshman in 2024, he averaged 44.1 yards per punt on 64 with 20 down inside the 20 and only 5 touchbacks. Was a freshman All-American. In 2025, Dawkin logged 39 with an average of 43.2 yards per and a long 65. He has got 2 years of eligibility. So this is you've got to replace Eckley. I think you've got at least a known plus punter, even if not as good as Eckley.
And he's following the coach. So
you'll take it.
Cool. Yeah. So there are 4 more dudes. As of recording, we don't know who they are, but we've seen their little floaty heads. Great.
Yep.
Cool. I look forward to doing this forever until we die, which I hope is soon. Anything else you want to say on football?
Christian McCray's going to UCF? Or is visiting? Why? Why are you leaving us? Anyway.
He wanted that big play Babytron money. Not getting it.
No, should we talk some hoops? You see, here's the thing. You can't have a bad attitude about this, Kevin, because when we got to go talk about a loss.
Because now we're going to have an even badder attitude. I am in a mood. There's no doubt about it. I am in a mood today.
Yeah, you came in pissed that you weren't included in the live stream. And then
that was what it was. Correct. That is what it was. Now's a great time to go talk about Denim Mojic in the rotation. Let's go. Denim. He was only on the floor for 5 minutes.
With a -1. That he's not the reason we lost this game. But I also think we can say 2 things are true. He's not the reason we lost the game, and he has no business playing point guard at Michigan State. Can't those both be true at the same time?
They can. We can have 2 thoughts at the same time. We can't read or write, but we can have 2 thoughts at the same time.
At this point in time, you remember when Foster Lawyer got surfboarded? Denham seems to produce at least 1 play a game that feels like it's out of a Three Stooges act, or that
Like
Yakety Sax should be playing. Yeah. So anyway, that's enough on Denham. He's not the reason we lost, and but it still pisses me off watching him in the game. It makes my blood
Which
boil.
of the 2 do you want to choose for the reason that we lost? Inability to get anything going in the half court inside the 3-point line, or inability to actually retain possession of the basketball? Which do you want to point out for this?
Yeah, so Michigan State totals 21 turnovers. I thought it was 19. To Nebraska's 8. So to be clear, you just don't cough up the ball a few more times, and you're winning this game.
5. Well, no. To be more accurate, there were 3 really awful turnovers in like the last 3 minutes. Kurtang was out of bounds 2 times. And then, of course, there's the Jeremy Fears I think it was actually maybe should have been called a kickball, but just basically dribbled it off of someone from, like 2 Nebraska players sort of collide on a screen, and then it just sort of dribbles out of bounds with a minute left. Killer. Absolutely killer.
But it's the turnovers. The turnovers are certainly a symptom of, or maybe a leading indicator of the inability to get anything going in the half court. Not exclusively, but you don't cough the ball up that much, and you might have some more opportunities to score from 2-point land.
Is that how that works? If you retain the ball, you can potentially score the ball?
Here's the other thing. Like, I'm going to give me a look at me. Give me a happy face, sad face. I'm going to give you a stat. Kurtang shot 33% from 3-point land. That's a sad face for you. Okay.
It's not a happy face. If I have to choose between the two, 33 is not enough. 33 is mediocre bad. That's a C minus D plus.
Okay. So I was fine. Maybe you keep it at neutral. You would take a 33% performance maybe compared to where things were earlier.
If I have to stop being the sad boy, I'll say that some of them were clutch shots and we needed them. Some shots are like they stop runs or they keep you in the game. I'm not entirely convinced that all shots are worth the same, right? Jackson Kohler hit even clutcher shots, but he hit some big shots in big moments.
Okay.
Continue.
But then here's another stat. 4 for 12. 8 possessions where the ball didn't make it inside and an empty 3 went up. Yes, I'm conceptually fine with a 4 or with a 33% performance. I mean, yeah, obviously you'd like it a little bit higher, but on a 2 for 6 night and other times you're going to get a 3 for 6 night, like you're fine doing that balance, right?
Yeah.
But 4 for 12, that is too many shots from 3. There are Michigan State games where the offense has been humming, where they've put up 12 total shots from 3. Mm-hmm. It's too many. And I'm not necessarily blaming Kurtang exclusively here on this. Again, this was not a well-rounded or at least a well-executing offense. 8 possessions.
And from what I can tell, Nebraska is not a particularly good. It's not part of their scheme to cause you to turn the ball over a ton. They're 80th-ish in the country in causing turnovers on offense. So I kind of, you said turnovers are the story. I kind of think that weird double and then like get back really well defense. That was the game.
It was a weird kind of, I know it's not a pack line, but conceptually it was, we're going to keep them out of the middle.
It worked. It worked wonders. We couldn't do anything in the half court and they don't even attempt to offensive rebound. So they were getting right back to that and that stopped all of our fast break as well. So people I've seen online, the people are like, this game's different anywhere else. You'll never see that many turnovers again. Maybe that's true, but that defense is going to travel. That defense, we would see it in the Big Ten tournament or whatever. And that gave us absolute fits. So I'm not that convinced that this game would be a blowout if it wasn't for a few of those turnovers. I'm not that convinced at all.
I think it's also worth mentioning we had a 33% offensive rebounding percentage. We out-rebounded them 45 to 30 and had 11 offensive boards to their 8, but our second appearance points we beat them by 2. 9 to 7.
Rough.
11 offensive boards, and you came back with 9 points.
Yeah.
Not great.
Our team, 3-point percentage, you know what it's up to? Almost 37. 36.7 on the year.
Kohler's got to be about 50%, right?
It's a great question. Let's find out.
Oh, should I talk?
Yes, 51%, in fact. Well done. Yeah. Also, what we haven't talked about that kind of killed us in this game, Divine Ukachukwu not being available. Yeah. We needed him now. This was the time. Stand up and fight for this. There are plenty of games where you could have Divine Ukachukwu on the bench and still win. This was one where we really needed him. So this was kind of a sum of all fears situation that we found ourselves in.
I'm surprised Jordan Scott didn't get a little bit more run. I'd have to look back at his play. It wasn't I don't recall it being terrible, and I think he had to spend some time with denim on the floor, but only 13 minutes, 3 boards, 3 fouls in 13 minutes. That's not great, though one of them wasn't, I think, just a heads-up play on the offensive player forcing a
Well,
foul.
if he's not making it work on the inside, his 3-point shooting isn't keeping him on the floor right now.
Yeah,
So I
that's fair.
don't know. I'm not Tom Izzo. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm not, but that might have been a factor in all of this.
That's fair. Uh, Also, a little surprised Jesse McCullough didn't get more run, given that we couldn't get anything going from inside. And look, all right, here's the other thing. Carson Cooper, 6 points, 13 boards. On paper seems like a decent output until you scroll down to the Nebraska portion of the box score and you find old Rink Mast, who put up 19 points and 7 rebounds. Now, Rank is not a 3-point shooter by reputation. Went 6 for 13.
He is shooting 39% on the season, but continue.
Not that volume.
He's shot 74 this year. That's good for second most on the team.
Okay. So that means, is he putting up 13 a game?
No, not 13. Math doesn't math for 13, but he is the second highest volume 3-point shooter on the team.
All right, fine. I mean, I guess they kept him out from doing damage inside, but my God, that guy had a lot of open looks from 3.
Yeah, killed us. This one sucked. This one sucked for a few reasons. One, I want to make it clear, I'm not above losing to Nebraska.
No.
I'm happy to do it.
This is a good Nebraska team too.
And they deserved it. They played the tails off, and the fans clearly enjoyed it. I'm not above lose. I don't think we're too good to lose to Nebraska ball. That's not it. One issue, we're seeing that there's a ceiling on this team, and the ceiling has to do with the rotations at the guard spot. And there's no, Tom Izzo's not going to go buy some backup or starting shooting guard from Europe like some of these other teams be doing.
He's not calling Gary Harris and being like, "Hey, buddy, what you up to?
Yeah.
You got eligibility."
I think what bums me out about this loss is that we're starting to now learn who this team is. I think we're learning that this team has better potential than we thought it did at the beginning of the year. And I think we can also see now that this is not Tom Izzo's second natty team. It's just not.
No. I mean, if it was going to be, and you're not wrong, it's not. First of all, there's no one who can create off the dribble on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at you, Cohen Carr, who played 30 minutes and walked away with 2 points.
Well, that gets to the not being able to do anything inside stuff. Because remember when everyone was coping on social media over the offseason over his 2 or 3 3-point highlights that we saw from practice? And they were like, he's going to the league. He's got it all figured out. He just doesn't. He has to be able to slash. He has to be able to go baseline to contribute. He has to operate in the fast break to contribute on offense. He adds a lot to the team in other areas. Absolutely. I'm not taking anything away from him. But yeah, this was a game where his flaws as an offensive player were going to be spotlighted.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the evil that dare not speak its name? Another disappointing thing in this game is the same night Michigan annihilated USC by 30 points.
And we play USC next, yeah?
Yeah, so we're going to see. Maybe we'll beat them by 30 points when Plum and I are there to root them on. But not only are we not winning a natty this year, someone is going to win the natty, and it is starting to look like there's a team out there that has a better chance than most at doing so. And comparison is the
Thief of joy. Is that why you're in such a bad mood, buddy?
We should be enjoying getting court stormed when we know that we have a flawed team that wasn't going to win all of its games. It's getting harder and harder to ignore that other team down the road and what it's doing.
Well, yeah. I think, though, we can say I can feel relatively confident that we will have a very good strategy to play that game when that game comes. I will take my coach over their coach every day. Now, do I
The
wish my
man's
coach...
name is Dusty. Like, no one should be named Dusty. How do you end up there in a situation like that?
Yeah. But I do wish my coach maybe was slightly more progressive in his roster construction activities. But it's fine. It's fine. And the other
weird thing
is
about that team,
yeah,
is that yes, we knew that Yaxel was very good. He was the number 1 rated overall transfer player, and he removed his name from the draft for whatever that's worth. But like the rest of this team shouldn't be operating. This team is greater than the sum of its parts, is
Sure.
what I'm saying. Why is this the team that is annihilating all of the efficiency stats? Like, there's some efficiency stats out there, like this is maybe one of the most efficient offensive and defensive teams ever, like, measured during the KenPom era, potentially.
Yeah.
Why this group of guys? I know we've had some things to say about Dusty May, but it's not even like he's had them long enough to kind of put them together. It's almost like magic. Like all the pieces just sort of magically fell together. Like I know they got Morris Johnson, who was the big Illinois recruit from last year, if memory serves. He was a McDonald's All-American. He's a big deal. But the rest of these guys are, I guess they are old.
Yeah, Shedder's still playing there.
Barely. I guess he gets a fair share of minutes, but like all of the guys are kind of plus guys, and it just seems to work for them. It's discouraging. It's very discouraging.
Well, and even if you think that you can take some from them during the regular season, doesn't mean you get to be in their path come March. So I hear you. But we see a bit more of them than we see other teams. There are some other good teams out there. So,
and they got taken to OT by the Wake Forest team that is not spectacular.
Yeah.
They're not unbeatable, but they do look very, very good. And they're now being very, very good in conference play. And things change. Like a couple years ago, it looked like Purdue was going to be unbeatable.
USC's a very flawed team, by the way.
To a more unbeatable team.
Yeah, well, look, we don't need to worry about that right now. You have USC to fret about.
Yeah, but I'm sad boy. I'm in sad boy mode. And
honestly, do you want to quit and record tomorrow?
Maybe I do. Maybe I do.
Do you want to talk puck?
Well, that's good. That's good to talk about. We won the GLI. Who cares? I don't care. Western's not even in it. We did win the GLI, though. And that is exciting because we hadn't won it for a while. But now we have again for the second year in a row. So very good.
Look, if you can't keep trophies in the football building, put them in MUN.
And everyone knows we care more about that. We all agree. Hockey school. That's why we dedicate so much time to it here on this podcast.
All right. Before we move on, we should say a quick word about our dear friends at Mama's Mercantile and Eatery. You know who loves to eat at Mama's? Nick Marsh loves to eat at Mama's. Eater. Certified eater at Mama's. Nick Marsh. Look, you can get that homemade dish. Locally sourced. And if you're traveling along I-94, you got to stop in Grass Lake. You got to get off at the Clear Lake Road exit. Go to Mama's Mercantile and Eatery. You can go to mamasmerc.com for menus, online ordering, and more. Mention Can't Read, Can't Write, get 10% off. Anything
Or
else?
mention Nick Marsh and get asked to leave. Not because he went to IU, but because obviously it's weird. They're like, no, we're not your mom. Get out of here, you weirdo. Get out of here. On the ride from Detroit to Indiana, he's going to have to pass right through Grass Lake, and he's going to see that sign that says Mama's, and he's just going to be taken instinctively there. Like the scene in 30 Rock where Liz Lemon just takes the baby home and comes to and realizes that she has it in her. Like he's just going to gravitate towards Mama's. They're going to have to ask him to leave. They're going to need to get the authorities involved in this.
He's going to be wandering around the basement being like, Mama?
Mama. Mama.
All right.
It's troubling, actually.
Should we do the social media questions, buddy? Did I get all?
Yeah, first it comes from Mike Jones, where you've added no questions.
I keep him on there because he always comes first, but he didn't submit any questions. So that's why.
He's probably too worked up about Nick Marsh.
Yeah. So first up is Tigers fan 63. After all the turnovers versus Nebraska, should MSU get an endorsement deal with Pillsbury?
This turnover brought to you by Pillsbury. Pillsbury doesn't have the cash for the number of turnovers that they would have had to pay out for in that last game.
Yeah, it's sort of a bricking for chicken,
but bouncing off Dickin or something like that. Do you think the majority of portal entries were player decisions or coach driven? Asked Tiger fans.
At this point in time, it feels like they shot that promo video with Fitz addressing the team, and then they shut it down and he said, "Get out, all of you, get out."
I mean, we were clear during the season that none of these guys were to be cried for when they left.
Yeah.
And there are a couple that I'm like a little bit bummed about. Your Masunuses, your McRae's, your Kika, whatever.
Connington?
Your Conningtons, for the most part. It's garbage out. Hopefully not garbage in. Hopefully. And finally, from Tigers fan 63, more impressive post-portal season. Kenneth Walker or Trinidad Chambliss?
K9.
Yeah, it's always going to be K9. And
did he win the Walter Camp Award?
Yeah. The one true... this is the Ole Miss quarterback, for those that don't know.
And not a Walter Camp Award winner.
How are you doing following the bowl games?
Not great, but that isn't necessarily an indictment on anything other than sports doesn't occupy the place in my life that I wish it did.
Yeah. You have to be pickers and choosers about what to focus on because you want to be an active parent.
It's a little overrated.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, but yeah.
What enriching activities did the two of you do for Blake today?
We played Mario Party. And I crushed him.
Yeah, you can't let him have it. You got to get those special stars. Come on, bud.
Yeah. And then I got bamboozled by Yoshi at the end.
Well, they rubber band. It's like Mario Kart that way. They make stuff up in that game. I have been keeping an eye, particularly on the playoff games, of course. And I did watch Indiana, Bama. And then I got to see parts of the other, like the end, speaking of Ole Miss, the end of that game. All-time meme material. But for the most part, I'm finding that this sad boy thing that I'm doing for our team is bleeding over into all things related to college football. And I just want to be good at football again. Can we just get good at football again, please, Michael Jones?
Yeah, though I do wonder, like, that sport in particular feels more professionalized than college basketball does for some reason to me. I don't know why, because it's not accurate, but there's something about college football that feels like it is moving faster and farther away from the sport that I originally loved, which isn't to say that men's basketball isn't doing many of the same things.
This is good. Let's continue to cope on this. So let's reframe everything. Is it that I'm not sad that our team is bad? It's that I'm sad about the state of college football and the direction that it's going, and that my interest is just naturally waning as a result. Not
Well, I think
necessarily because my team is bad, but because college football is so broken right now.
we had a lot of bad teams in college,
Yeah.
and we still enjoyed college football.
Mhm.
We've had bad teams in the past.
Mhm.
We've had
That's
bad
true.
teams doing this podcast.
But we've never had a bad streak like this, let the record show. Like, we
Sure.
should acknowledge that.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is good. I like the cope better than just having to confront the fact that our team is bad and probably
It might be
is
a
not-
yes and, though. It might be a yes and because it's that your team is bad and you're not sure if your team can ever be good again.
we can have two thoughts at the same time. We established this earlier this episode.
We
It
can
can be
walk and
both.
chew gum.
We can't read and or write, but we can walk and chew gum.
That's a binary thing, though.
It is. Next up from Scott Yu, a couple of episodes ago, Jonesy, how can you say Jake Butt is the Robbie Hummel of Michigan? When he was the color commentator for the 2024 MSU versus Scum game, he literally called MSU Little Brother live on the air. Did he really? I don't remember this.
I don't recall this, and here's the thing. Look, I wasn't attempting to say that he's not still a piece of shit for having gone to Michigan. He is. You can't wash the smugness away from them. I'm just saying, by way of folks that they have out in media, he is the most presentable. He does provide, in the same way that, look, Dan Dockich is a piece of shit. There was a time where Dan Dockich calling a game, you'd learn a few things, right? Like,
And he really wanted you to as well. He was like, I'm the people's coach. I'm going to get out here with the ball and dribble around on the court.
but you get my point, right? Like, so look, Scott, fair call out, and I'm sorry if it came across as me somehow liking Jake Butt.
Yeah, we hate Jake Butt.
He's a butt.
There you go. I got him.
Nailed it.
I got him.
He's never heard that
Scott,
one before.
Truly do reach out. Tell me what the context was for this, because I don't. I mean, obviously, I watched that game unless I was at it. So tell me what the context was for that.
And honestly, Scott, be real. Was it? What was it? Mike Hart-ish? Because that was shitty what Mike Hart did. Was it that level of like smugness, or was it maybe I'm in a booth and I'm saying things and I tried to be playful?
Yeah, and we hate Jake Butt. Next up from CV Bagel, what would you three consider a, quote, successful portal class?
At this point in time, can we fill all of the roster spots?
We need, in CV, like you're not going to get blown away with this answer, but like we need all meaningful contributors. Like there are so many holes to fill, and not even just from guys that are transferring. There are holes to fill from guys that have decided to stay. I need to be so wrong about this class and how few of them we need to know, because next fall, they're just contributing meaningfully to the team all over the place. We need a whole team from the transfer portal.
We legitimately need a whole team from the transfer portal.
Yeah.
We have no center, no guards. We have one right tackle. We now maybe have a left tackle. There's no one behind those people except for maybe a couple Jonathan Smith. Like, we have no wide receivers. We have no tight ends. There's no one on this team.
Yeah, again, the Masunas thing does bum me up.
It's the sort of from Pulp Fiction, John Travolta, like looking around the room. Like there's no one.
Yeah, there's just that empty.
No one in there.
I got to go back to those Tarantinos. Like, I don't think I've watched Pulp Fiction since college. I definitely haven't watched Jackie Brown since college. I think I watched Jackie Brown in your dorm room in Case Hall. I think we did that together.
I don't know that I've seen Jackie Brown.
And maybe you weren't there.
I'm trying to think of. I just saw a clip for a Tarantino film today that I don't know the film, that I'd never seen, that had some great comedy in it. So it must have been Django. It must have been Django.
You haven't seen Django?
Mm-mm.
Bro, Django's great. Go watch Django. All right. Next up from the CV Bagel, who stays on this theme, any marquee names required? A certain percentage split between Power 4 players versus G5 or FCS talent. Just warm bodies to get to a scholarship limit? It cannot be just warm bodies to get to a scholarship limit. It cannot be that. It cannot be that.
I mean,
what do you think about this? You like to talk about the lateral transfer versus transfer up versus transfer down.
Okay. I think there's categories of players here. Yeah. There are, it's three, I genuinely believe there are 3.5 types of players in the portal.
Great. 3.5. Yeah. Very good.
There's transfers up. I got to go.
And you're talking prestige level of program. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, kind of, though. Like, I do think you hit a certain threshold, and you have the capacity to be on a large enough stage. Like, it's tough at a place like Michigan State where you're losing so much, but like Nick Marsh didn't need to leave to go anywhere to make it in the NFL.
We made this whole argument, and I think we demonstrated that it was true when Keon Coleman left, for example.
Right. Then there's I got past transfers. So this is, you saw a lot of these under Mel Tucker, right? They moved down a system, or they moved to another school because it may be kind of a peer school, but like they leave because they got passed on the depth chart and another school has a need, right? My 0.5 is I have
this
either
is great that you were done with 2. Now you're going to the 0.5, and then you're going back to whole numbers. Okay, very good.
Yep. 0.5 is I play, but my coach is an idiot, or I need to be in a system that's actually going to translate to the NFL, a la your Kenneth Walker. Mm-hmm. For some reason, was not getting the carries that he rightfully deserved, and played in that weird extended mesh point system that is not seen anywhere in the NFL, right? You'll see people move to a pro style offense kind of regularly because they want to be able to say, yeah, I've done it. I can do this in the NFL.
Okay.
The last is I'm a real piece of shit and I'm chasing a bag. And that's your Sam Levitt. Like Sam Levitt, who I believe on this podcast said, wow, really nice guy. Gave all his NIL money away. Well, maybe, Sam, if you hadn't fucking done that, you wouldn't be leaving your school. Like, maybe you should help.
I don't think he gave all of his NIL money away. He gave some amount of his NIL money away.
Anyway, but you get my point. There are routinely chaos agents that we see in the portal, or people who flirt with being a chaos agent and then maybe return to a school. Like we saw this out of Chuck Brantley every year in the portal.
Yeah.
So
can I submit for you another one? Another whole number?
By all means.
Players who are like, my mommy on social media wants me to go. She wants to hold their fan base interact with. My mommy wants me to go. My mommy.
In fairness, I believe Jordan Hall's mom really wants him to stay at Michigan State. So that's a little. And we like her. We like her.
For some reason, Nick Marsh, my impersonation of Nick Marsh sounds a little bit like my impersonation of
Mark Turgeon,
certain former Michigan coaches. Yeah. So anyway, continuing
also, it's actually giving very Coach K.
Oh, yeah. A little bit. Next up from the Bepe Plum. Am I too late? The portal is stupid. Forks down. I'll also have my thick fantasy about a new lady now. Maybe I'll go back to Miss Vicky or Nicki Minaj. Also, anyone see my keys? School starts tomorrow and I don't know how to get to my class. From 19 Days Vacation Guy. Okay.
Well, listen, Beppe, you're going to have a real weird Minaj situation, speaking of Nicki Minaj, because the sun is going to be there.
Yeah, and also fantasizing in this case, like, get in line. There are other
say more,
guys
Kevin.
Fantasizing. It was a Nick Marsh fantasizing about his mom joke. That's what I was saying.
And next up from Beppe, if the fake ID of Childs is real, does the 9/11 birthday open up some jokes, or is it too soon? I asked my best friend's wife, and she said her brother, a New York City hero, would laugh. So here goes my most insanely insensitive joke I will ever make, and you are here for it. And MSU, and then it cuts out.
We would never make a 9/11 joke on this podcast, okay?
But did you see this?
We always remember.
Did you see Childs' fake ID?
No, I did not see Childs' fake ID.
It made the rounds. September 11th. You picked McLovin?
So presumably this was an ID that he was using at bars here?
Yeah. I mean, presumably you go to the field house and they're like,
they want to just see something.
Never mind. In case the cops watching, they need to show that they
plausible
checked an ID.
deniability. Yeah. Yes, we looked at a thing. It said what it was supposed to say. Come on in.
Next up from the search, thoughts on starting an 8-man football division in college like the MHSAA for small towns.
I have talked to several people that have played on these teams, and they say it's fun. Actually, it's fun. It's high octane.
Who's the 8th person? Because you see a lot of 7-on-7 camps happening, and
yeah, I've never watched one of these games. I just know that they exist out there in the thumb or wherever. So I don't know all the strategy of it, but it is funny that exists. That there are just small towns that are like, we want to play football, but there just like literally are not enough people to do it.
Next up, Jason Fry. Grooch, as the spouse of a Canadian, is the Canadian tuxedo a good nickname for Denim Wojcik?
Yeah, it is.
Who names their kid Denim?
I don't. The only reason it's not a good nickname is that it's not biting and corrosive enough. You need more hate in your heart, Jason Fry. Join me on the sad boy side.
Next up from Jason Fry. New U of M coach Whittingham has spent nearly his entire adult life either playing or coaching football in the state of Utah. And he's an LDS church member. Since Grooch is very familiar with the church, the state, is Whittingham joining U of M increasing his immersion into a cult?
So I'm very glad, one, that Jason Fry truly knows so much about us, and two, that this came up because I believe Plum seemed to be charmed a little bit by Coach Whittingham last week, right? Was a little bit on board.
Are, devout members of a church. So they've got that in common. He likes a God-fearing man. He also, I think, he appreciates that he doesn't follow any women on social media.
Oh, yeah. They have that in common. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Plum said, say more. But no, I don't know. I don't know why he was so charmed with him. But he was.
I think it's just because Plum's a white dude that presents way older than he actually is.
Sure.
And old white dudes be loving Whittingham. That's for sure. I think one of the things I'm upset about is like, we're the little brother, but your program saw how much old white man loved our coaching hire. And you were like, watch us. We too can play at that game. I'm glad though that Jason Fry brought this up, because for all the narratives about like, this guy's a straight shooter, this guy's as un-Michigan as they come. How are you going to hate this guy? Look at him. He drives an old Ram truck or Ford truck, He like a rock. He's one of those, And my answer to that is, I think Jason Fry is onto something here. It's not that far off from getting a little bit like, how did they say it in Book of Mormon? Hello, my name is Brother Whittingham, and I know a thing or two about institutions that mythologize about themselves. Hello, my name is Brother Whittingham, and I know a thing or two about institutions that are very insular and will protect themselves at all costs. Hello, my name is Brother Whittingham, and I know a thing or two about institutions that are, it could go on and on like this. I think there's something to be said about comparisons between the U of M and the church, the LDS church.
That's fair. That's fair.
What do you think, Mike Jones? What do you think? Do you have any more verses for me? Hello, my name is Brother Whittingham.
Do they not let women in anywhere? That'd be another one.
Well, we could do the other angle about people that they didn't let in until the 80s.
All right. Next up, Powdered Toast Man. Can we do away with the weave? Oh, this feels targeted after that question. Does anyone know how to drive toward the basket without turning the ball over? Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the basketball weave, which is a Juddism, by the way. Judd loved the weave. Oh, the man loved the weave. You're trying to create
have a problem with the weave.
matchups. Toastman, we're creating matchups. You can't just turn it over against your first matchup. You got to weave yourself into a better turnover matchup. And that's why we do it. I don't think we actually do it that much. I think we did it here because we were struggling so much in the half court and we were trying to create shots. I think that's why it happened. But we don't, like, on a day-to-day, we run way more ball screens than we do that sort of weave play. So,
agreed.
Next up from Joe Ashworth, has fears.
Yes.
He had a bad game. There's no doubt that he's had
a bit of a stretch of bad games.
But he had one really good game in there.
His defense has not been where it needs to be. I'll say that.
All right.
Next up from Joe, should Tom call Trey and ask him to transfer back mid-season?
We haven't done an ex-girlfriend check-in in some time. What is our friend Trey doing over at the NC State?
Oh, do you want me to talk so there's not silence while you're Googling this?
Yeah, this is a lot like when you asked Plum about the number of turnovers.
I'm just going to leave you out to dry on this.
Trey is shooting 43%. We could use that right now.
How many minutes per game?
27 and 62. Minute share is pretty high. He's got 62% minute share. So he's like core rotation guy. NC State seems to be running a pretty tight rotation. They're running like a 7 to 8 man rotation, and he is thick in it.
Next up from Joe Ashworth, what did you get each other for Christmas? Well, Kevin chatted me on the side and said that he would do live shows after this. So that's what he got me for the holidays. And I got Kevin a free subscription to my Patreon on Edging.
I mean, if you're a participant, do you still need a subscription?
If you're watching, it's gooning.
Yes. Next up from Spartaquai. Sorry, Beth
Morrow.
Is there any game on this schedule that could or should trigger a court storm at Breslin? If you haven't covered it already, were you as excited as Izzo about the Nebraska storm? Should we take it as a compliment? I think we kind of covered the second half of this. Is there anything on the schedule that should trigger a court storm at Breslin?
We don't storm the court.
We did. We did once against Wisconsin, number 1 Wisconsin. The problem is it's about expectations. And I think this is why the Nebraska team was like, we don't need to be doing this stuff. We have higher expectations for themselves. A ranked 19 MSU basketball team, or whatever we're down to after this.
Wait, hold on. We
didn't drop to 19.
Okay. It probably isn't out yet.
Yeah, it'll come out tomorrow morning. But so we're 9 now. What are we in KenPom? We are KenPom 15. 15 ranked MSU team ain't storming the court on anyone. It's when you're like expectations are low and then you do something spectacular. That's when you court storm. And unfortunately, we're just not in a position to do that.
Next up from Beth Amaro, the Lions broke our hearts again, but K9 to the Super Bowl would be a nice consolation prize.
And he's getting more active over there is what I see. He's getting more carries. He's getting more churn.
They're finally stopping giving the ball to, what's that not good running back from Michigan?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Bozo.
I mean, he is a bozo. He's bad. They should give the ball to K9.
Next up from Thomas, what's Tom gonna do? What's Tom gonna go completely overboard on in practice this week? Ball security or not rushing shots at either end of the shot clock? Well, we were rushing a lot of shots at the end of the shot clock in this game. The answer is ball security, though, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if I've got to choose between the two, that's it.
Next
Also,
from Thomas.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I just want to interject because I think if I'm looking through the rest of the questions, this is one of the last ones on basketball that we had. No one asked us, Kevin, about Tom not calling a timeout.
Oh, good call. That was like a big
I'm disappointed in all of you.
Yeah, we should have brought that up. We don't go back and look at our text threads when I was astonished that he didn't call a timeout with 10 seconds left.
And the thing that we had was Carson Cooper, like a newborn giraffe attempting to like throw the ball. What was that?
Well, we did call a timeout for that, and I guess that was what he was supposed to do. But I'm talking about calling the timeout with
when he got fouled. No. I'm talking about
at the end of that shot clock.
Yes.
Yeah, it was bad. He did call a timeout to stop a Nebraska run. He did do that. And then he chose not to call a timeout with 10 seconds left. That would have been the last timeout. And maybe he was like, I want to have one in my pocket for something, maybe eventually.
You mentioning the calling the timeout to stop a run made me think about things that Tom Izzo doesn't normally do that we sometimes wish he would do. I'm
Fouling
explaining
up 3.
Which is bringing me to Micah Shrewsbury. Did you see
I did
this?
Not. I did not.
Notre Dame's up 4.
Mm-hmm.
I forget who they're playing. Somebody, maybe Cal. I don't know. Who cares? And Micah has his players attempt to foul multiple times. No whistle. Then the player goes and shoots a 3-pointer, having been maybe a half second earlier, another attempted foul, no call. Gather, carry, step, shoots a 3-pointer, then the whistle goes up for the foul that occurred well before the shot went off, leading to a 4-point play, resulting in Notre Dame losing the game, and Micah Shrewsbury charged the ref in a way that multiple people had to restrain him. He's almost certainly going to be suspended. I stand with Shrewsbury on this. You watch the video and it does not look good what he did. I stand with Shrewsbury on this. I think the new rule should be, I should have also mentioned, they review the call, reverse the foul, then re-award the foul because you can't undo a foul that was called. So it was I think
we actually saw that in this game as well. We saw an undone foul, which I had this cylinder call. First off, that rarely happens in games. I think I've seen like 3 cylinder calls in my entire life.
That was a legitimate cylinder call, though, but yes.
But to review because of a potential flagrant, because of contact to the head, and then use that as an opportunity to revert the foul entirely. Alex Plum. I don't think I've ever seen that done before.
Anyway, I think the deal is that if refs get it that wrong and they cost you a game, the call stands, it should be fine. But I think the ref should be paraded back out to center court and the losing coach gets to slap them in the face.
It's a tap sack. We're in a tap sack situation.
Sure.
It's a graceful tap sack.
We have lady refs now. Kevin, we have lady refs.
What? Okay, that's true.
But we don't want to. Nope. We got to think about this one a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay. We'll put it back. It does seem like I'm no Plum, but he always talks about how refs need to be aware of the situation in the game.
Yep.
And you need to know that at the end of basketball games, there are intentional fouls. Every ref knows this. So when an intentional foul, and I would argue like it's player endangerment if they choose not to call the intentional fouls, right? Because then they have to become more and more intentionaler. So you want
eventually your Mel Tucker keep chopping on.
Correct. Yes. So it is in the interest of the game, as long as we have figured out how to remove this whole intentional fouling process at the end of basketball games, where you can break the rules into potentially giving yourself an advantage.
Right, because isn't that by definition a flagrant foul?
It seems like we got to work this out where at the end of games, you can't do this anymore. But refs should know when an intentional foul is probably going to be committed and then whistle it immediately when it is.
Right. Anyway, great sidetrack. Next from Thomas Zambiasi. Am I the problem if I find everybody's darling Midwest nice fan base over in Lincoln extremely annoying? Well, we also didn't talk about the controversy following this game, the technical foul.
Continue.
So one of Nebraska's players, who I feel like I just saw up on my feed, was teed up for making a shooting motion at Jeremy Fears and then posted about it on, I believe it was Fear None, with a caption of him two-gunning Jeremy Fears, turned comments off, and then deleted it 4 hours later. So, yeah, I think Thomas, you're fine, though I do believe everyone says that they are easily the nicest people, at least for football. I think listening to the broadcast, it was clear that they don't understand basketball there. They're sort of like Iowa fans when it comes to like foul calls. But what's your take on this?
I'm not yet bothered by Nebraska fans, but Thomas, I can see how you would get there. I understand that. And I'm in a sad boy mood. So anyone that's being lifted up, I do want to break them down. So yeah.
We're going to talk after we stop recording here. Nate C's up next. Winter sports are a bit of a letdown, though I suppose basketball is about where we thought they would be this year. Football stands little hope of marked improvement given what we've seen. How do you keep yourselves invested in sports right now?
Well, now look who's the sad boy. Now you're taking my whole bit, Nate C. And also, hockey is barely a letdown. Like they looked world beating at the beginning of the season, and now they're just like one of the teams that will compete for a national championship. But I would say basketball is exceeding. That was my point earlier. Exceeding the expectations from the beginning of the season, at least. I get what you're saying, but I need you, Nate C, to give me a little bit more of the why in all of this. And what do I do to keep myself invested in sports right now? Look at the rest of the world. Sports will look really great and fun, and you'll go right back to it.
Yeah, I loved waking up to see a coup.
Yeah, your boat's not going to Venezuela, is it, Nate? Next up, any issues in the Fitz locker room? This question is one we should all be asking, as we know he doesn't keep track. His leadership failure should have been enough to keep him from getting this position again. But here's MSU thinking that they're in a position to rehabilitate it, so I'll keep asking. Well, the good news is, Nate, there's no players in the locker room right now. So there can be no hazing when there are no players. But there are about to be a lot of new players, so the hazing. But there are no old ones to bring over old traditions, so no hazing. And, it'll work itself out.
Next up, bonus. Good thing the LDS retconned that whole dark skin is a divine curse for sin thing.
Second mention of this on the pod. I guess so. Yes. Good thing they retconned. Yeah. Good thing they retconned.
Anyway, next up, Mamapaleaf. Which one of these evidentiary aspects caused you the most pause during last week's live broadcast? One, couldn't edit out Plum's rants. B, Jonesy's breaks couldn't be hidden from view. Or C, the fact that you either didn't clue in Grooch or that he knew about it and fled the country.
That is true. The C is accurate. Yeah.
What is evidentiary aspects?
I have no idea. But the rest of it is as coherent as Mamapaleaf gets. And the answer is all of the above. All three.
All right, next up, was the point in the ball game that you lost hope with Cooper at the end or before that? And did Fred Hoiberg's words of admiration for Whit Izzo take some of the sting out of the loss? Was the point in the ball game that you lost hope with Cooper at the end? Or okay, I see. Okay.
Is she saying, did you lose hope in the game at the moment that it was lost, or did you lose hope in the game before then? I was pretty certain that we were going to lose when Fears just dribbled it out of bounds.
Yeah, that was where it's like, okay.
That was the all is lost moment.
Yep.
It would have been gravy to win it from there.
Last up, Upper Deck Jerk Guy. How many hours of sleep does Plum get a night? He seems like he needs more. That feels hurtful.
Well, that's what he's doing right now. He's listening to you, Upper Deck Jerk Guy. It's just what the doctor ordered.
Next up from Upper Deck Jerk Guy, you still posting on Twitter? You know the platform that allows AI to create generated images of kids in bikinis. I am judging you.
I think it's fair to criticize us for posting on Twitter. We're going where the audience is. At what cost? At what cost, Mike Jones?
Yes.
I did make a grok joke earlier, Upper Deck Jerk Guy. What?
Go
ahead.
Upper Deck Jerk Guy, I hope you're holding everyone else to this standard. I'll say that. Because you're right. We are the reason that X is a going concern is because we're there. Whole thing would fall apart.
But a little bit it is. Like you get a critical mass of people that think that way, and then all of a sudden everyone's just on X.
That's fine. We've made ourselves available on another platform, and people have not migrated. If people were there and interacting and having an ongoing conversation that was lively, but like
we'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, but you can't just largely get a sports-based feed on Blue Sky. Problem is that you all are there tweeting about the very thing I don't want to talk about, which is the reason that we're all depressed. And it's all you do is you just sit there and you just do your depression collectively.
It is a factor in my sad boyiness right now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
In fairness, Upper Deck Jerk Guy, I would say that we spend considerably less time on Twitter than we did before. I certainly do. I spend far, far, far less, like a fraction. Like I would be surprised if it's more than 10% of what I used to.
I mean, you could check our tweets and it's like, anyone get questions?
Yeah.
I barely post the show anymore.
I was going to say our pinned tweet is from a show from like 4 months ago at this point. So how many losses will the winner of the Big 18 have this year is the Upper Deck Jerk Guy's last question. And I'm starting to be afraid that it's like 1 or 2.
Yep. Agreed.
This was a terrible last question because this is also part of the root of me being a sad boy. Upper Deck Jerk Guy's really pouring salt in the wound. Let's make up a new last question, shall we? We've dogged religion in this episode. We've dogged Nick Marsh and his mom. What do we want to talk about?
All right. Let's bring it back to my Moppa Leaf. No, not my Moppa Leaf. Sorry.
There we go.
Let's bring it back to Mamatron. Mamatron. Mamatron and my Moppa Leaf both have a mashup. Ooh. Let me ask you this. Do you think Nick Marsh has a successful season in Indiana?
I think he'll be fine. It'll be an unspectacular but fine season in Indiana.
Yep. I think it's right.
Let's toast to that. An unspectacular season for Nick Marsh at Indiana. Wow.
Cheers. Oh, you're empty.
School night
for you. Hey, buddy, I got 2 things to say to you.
Yeah, but
go green and forks down.
Forks down.
And
go white.